Hello, ladies and gents, and welcome back to the channel. Of course, it's me, Sani, your favourite sport content creator, taking you guys to the biggest and best sporting events around the world, and hopefully inspiring you to take part in the sport, watch the sport, and do all things related to that sport. But without further ado, we need to get started. It's a fireside chat, and of course, it is related to the big one. What a sesh that fifth Sani Sesh was. Oh my god, the scenes, the vibe, the atmosphere. I have to say it's probably the best sesh I've been to, and that is very tough for me to say because I have to say some of the other sessions I've been on so far have been insane. But obviously it's football and everyone loves football. Who doesn't love football? Maybe some of the neighbours across the pond in America might not like it because they call it soccer, but listen, football was great. And listen, what a summer it was. The sesh itself though was obviously Euro 2020, the round of 16 tie between England and Germany. Huge game, fierce rivals, so much on the line. England hadn't beaten Germany in 55 years in a major tournament in the knockout stages. And listen, history was made on that rainy day at Wembley. And yeah, for you guys out there that are wondering, why did he finish the fourth Sani Sesh in London? And now it makes sense because I had to stay over because the following day was the big one. It was England versus Germany. And honestly, it was surreal. I was lost for words at some points. The atmosphere was insane. The anthem was electric. The pitch was beautiful. I mean, I'm talking about stuff that had no relevance to the game, but honestly, the fans were brilliant as well. Even before the game, you saw me obviously outside the stadium. Obviously, it started raining, but the fans were in great spirits. And yeah, fine, some of the songs weren't exactly the nicest to our German and Scottish counterparts, but it's just a bit of banter. And otherwise, it was brilliant. And the game itself, obviously, first half wasn't the best. You could tell both teams were quite cagey, but then obviously second half we saw Sterling get the key goal 1-0, and then obviously Harry Kane, and you saw the goal on this sesh itself, absolute limbs, it went mental. I had people behind me hugging onto me, holding me. Miles was next to me, he was going ballistic as well. And yeah, it was brilliant. And what a tournament it was. I mean, we'll get onto the tournament in the next fireside chat because you will see what the next Sani Sesh is about, which will be next week. But yeah, great tournament, great vibes, and can't wait to get to the next England game, and hopefully that'll be in a major tournament. So, as with all Sani Seshes, I will be as transparent as I can with the costs. So, as you remember from the ending of the fourth Sani Sesh, I actually stayed in London that evening. So, the hotel for the night cost this much. It was effectively the same hotel that I stayed in the night before. I just had 2 nights. Then, as you know, in the morning, we had to get from our hotel all the way to Wembley Stadium, and that cost this much. Once we got to Wembley, we were there, soaking in the atmosphere, got a few drinks, had some food, etc. And that was obviously including the food and drink that we bought inside the stadium, accumulated to this much. Furthermore, I had to be that person and I had to buy a few merchandise items, so I bought a program. It's pretty good. Unfortunately, it didn't tell me too much about the game itself, but I don't think we needed to care too much. And listen, the next thing I bought, some of you out there might not be too happy, but I had to buy it for the culture and for the memories, and it was a half and half flag. And yes, I know people might not be too happy, but listen, it was history. I had to buy it because we had to remember such a great occasion. And listen, I know so many people out there don't really like the idea of half and half scarves, and I understand why, but these kind of occasions, I always tend to buy something like this. So that was that. And then of course, we bought the ticket itself for the game, and that cost this much. But altogether, the costs of the sesh cost this much. Which, once you factor in the fact that the ticket cost the most amount of money, and also factoring in the fact that it was a round of 16 tie at Wembley, and the cost of the ticket wasn't as high as other people might have paid for tickets. So for example, on the black market, it was going up to about 5-6 times the price of the actual ticket that I bought. I bought it through UEFA. So altogether, it wasn't too bad. And once again, once you take out costs like merchandise like I bought and hotel costs, then it's not really too much. Planning though for this session is really important. Now you might be thinking, planning for all sessions are really important. Of course they are. Sporting events need planning before you go to. But England games and these major tournaments are a whole different kettle of fish. So for example, there were fan parks in Trafalgar Square. Had you been going to this game, it would have been prudent for you to book a fan park before even going to the game. Me and Miles, we decided not to, so we didn't go. Furthermore, there was obviously Box Park at Wembley. The only way you were allowed into Box Park Wembley that day was if you had a ticket for the game itself. If you didn't have a ticket to the game, you were not allowed into Box Park Wembley. Furthermore though, the queues to Box Park Wembley were ridiculous. So if you were to go to Box Park Wembley, you would have to book in advance. So they're just two aspects of the planning. Furthermore though, when it comes to these kind of tournaments, it's always key to plan ahead. Like I said, if you're coming from a different city, you want to get there on time, you want to see what pubs are around the stadium, try and get the sesh started early and go from there. The reason I got tickets to this game wasn't because I was part of an England supporters travel club, which if you guys are interested in going to England games, I do recommend you buying a membership with them. The only reason I got tickets to this game was because initially I was meant to be going to several European games during this tournament over the course of the summer across Europe. Unfortunately, we all know COVID happened and then they changed the tickets and the venues of this game. So for example, this game itself was meant to be held in Dublin. I already had tickets to those games, but unfortunately, the venue got moved to Wembley, and then they had to refund the tickets and then offer tickets as a priority to those ticket buyers who'd already bought tickets to the initial game in Dublin. So there wasn't any special membership I had that allowed me to get to this game. I didn't know anybody in the FA or Wembley or EE that allowed me to get tickets to this game. It was more so because I had the priority access, because I already had tickets to the original game that had now been rescheduled. So if you were interested in going to England games, I do recommend you get behind on the England Supporters Travel Club. You can sign up. There's a free membership. There's also a paid one. The paid one will allow you guys to have a better chance of going to these England games. But again, make sure to check it out, read the terms and conditions and go from there. But of course, you know, we have to talk about England. You know, the 3 lines on a shirt, Jules Rimet still gleaming, all that kind of stuff. But listen, it was a great summer. I mean, I'll go into the whole tournament and the final in the next Fireside chat, which you'll understand why, because the next session will make sense why. But yeah, it was a brilliant summer, great memories. I can't wait to get to the next tournament. And listen, the future's bright for our national team, you know. But, you know, looking at the team itself and moving forward, there's some great talent in our team. I mean, a player like, you know, Jude Bellingham, for example, in midfield, he's so exciting. I mean, a couple of my mates, they're Birmingham City fans, and they're always, you know, ranting and raving about this guy. And, you know, I'm always like, yeah, he seems like a good player, but I can see why these guys have always been hyped behind him, because he's a brilliant player. And, you know, front line as well, you've got stars like Mason Greenwood. I know I'm a Man United fan, but he's going to be a star for the future. Saka's a great player. Foden, he didn't even play that much this summer. He's going to be a great player. Grealish, you know, he's doing pretty well at City as well. Player like Raheem Sterling, you know, shout out Raheem Sterling. I think a lot of people didn't really want him starting this summer, and, you know, Gareth Southgate, you know, his selection was justified because he absolutely smashed it, Raheem Sterling. And, you know, fair play to him. We all know he's had criticism playing for England for a very long time. You know, we all know what happened in 2016. He got a shed load of abuse from the media, but fair play to him. Harry Kane finally got off the score sheet in this game as well. So listen, it was a good tournament overall, but, you know, I have to give a shout out to Gareth Southgate. I haven't been the biggest fan of Gareth Southgate. The only reason I say this is because I feel as though, you know, in 2018, for example, yes, fine, we made the semi-finals, but I felt as though the run we had was very, very easy. It was great achieving the semi-final, but I just don't think, when you're looking at the bigger picture, that it was something to be amazed by. Similarly, I think in Euro 2020, yes, the run wasn't the best, but considering we got to the final, you have to give Gareth Southgate his credit. You know, he warrants an extension to his contract. I think 2022, obviously next year, we've got Qatar, he'll be there. In the following Nation League, he'll be there, and I think he might even be there for Germany 2024. He should definitely take the team into the next couple of tournaments. He knows the players very well. He knows what to play. I think the final was just one of them games, coin toss, it happens. And obviously, like I said, I'll get on to more in the next Fireside chat. But again, I think there is room for improvement like any other great team does. But listen, it was great to see what Gareth has produced, and I can't wait to see what he's going to do with this team next. You know, whether we'll win a tournament in the coming years or not is irrelevant, because at least the feel-good factor is back in England. But that's all for today's Fireside chat. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've took a lot from it, especially with the England Supporters Travel Club and the costs, etc. And who knows, you know, football could be coming home in the next tournament. But as always, guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, do what you guys keep doing. And until next time, peace.